Like the villages of Carmona, villages of Benauli have started a campaign to stop construction activity in their village in a bid to save the villages of Goa, which are under attack from the builders from various parts of the country. Villagers from Benauli culminated at the Dandor grounds recently under the banner of Benauli Villagers Action Committee to protest against their panchayat members for issuing construction licenses indiscriminately, which is destroying their village. The villagers woke up to this truth not because of huge construction activity in the village, but because of outbreak of malaria in Benauli. Speaker after speaker cautioned the 300-odd villagers that if they allow the current trend of unabated constructions, at some point of time they will be outsiders in their own village. Convener of Benauli Villagers Action Committee, Sepi Fernandez, speaking at the meeting, demanded that every person in the village who contracted malaria be compensated and demanded a ban on issuance of NOCs to builders.
malaria ताणे आपलो रिपोर्ट आणून दितो आपले नाव दिची एक malaria पेशंटाक आम्ही 5000 हे पंचायतीक डिमांड करतले पावो जाता आणि त्या 5000 लोकांक सांगचे माहिती दिचे कित्याक हे 5000 कित्याक आता तुम्ही ऐकलं असतले हिगा हारे बांदार ते झोपडी गायले ते धरतो 5 किलो फुटलं झाले ते 5000 एस्टिमेट आहे झोपड्याक आणि आमका 5000 मेळपाक वचप malaria झालं तेका 5000 मेळपाकूच जाय आनी 5000 आमी पंचायतीची बांगनात ते बिल्डर आयल्या तांचे लायसन्स कॅन्सल करात नाजाल्यार ते 5000 ते बिल्डर वचन घेवन आमकां ते लायसन्स कॅन्सल बिल्डराक फोन करपाचो.
Theatrist Ben Evangelist, in a very humorous yet sharp tone, said that it's still not too late to save Benauli and its identity.
Heartfelt sympathy to all Banarka. Kita ange Banar already mela. It is too late. आज आमकां चड लेट मिटींग केदा जावपाक लागली हाऱ्या मांडाक तें पयलें पुरोयत दोना हांव ती बुडोवन मारपा एक दीस मुगे जोतो एक माव वयतालो पूण तेदो आमचो दोडू गोडाय पूण कितें जावं बाणाल मेलें पूण जेजून मेलो मनशां पासून जीत केलें तोरूय आमकां टायम आमगे शेत वलें थोडे कुडके वले ते तोरी आम राखया बाणाली तो लिस्ट काडया इलेक्शनाचे तेजी आमकां नाका जालो नांव दीस पडा लावपाक गुलापाक थोडे मनशान फटकीर मनशान तेगे रेशन कार्ड केलें आनी नांव लिस्टाचें येयलें म्हणून ती आयडेंटिटी म्हणटा काबार जाय वयतली पूण खुश खुशी बांडाचे बांद्रा ती मुकले एक ती ट्रेन वयती चोयल्या बांडाची स्टार्ट जाला ती ट्रेन कितें स्टार्ट जाल्या आनी खोऱ्यातून झाड जावपाचो जीव बसलो आहा थिंगा आतां खोरें गाडसाय आनी लोकांक सांग भिनासना तिका कोणाक दिवपाक गरज ना ती ट्रेन मागीर मुखार वचोन पावतली.
Another social worker, Anthony De Silva from Asol, now pointed out that the law should be changed for sale of land.
Cultivable land घेताय सोय भितर आणि ते कन्वर्ट करता रेजिडेंशियल म्हणून अरे ग्रीन लँड एरिया ग्रीन पेंट केलो हा मॅपाचेर ह्या वयता आनी ताका मात लायता आनी जमीन बताय काय न्हू तेका आनी हे कोण हांगले मनीस पंच तलाटी मिनिस्टर MLA MP.
Coming up after the break is Goa That Was. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to Goa That Was. I am Nisa Dias, here to remind you of the people and events that made news in the week that went by. Last week, it was all there for the public to see that this government has miserably failed in its duties, and as the opposition cornered the ministers, they meekly agreed to do what the opposition wished. But first, we have some observation on the scarlet issue. It is more than a month, but the alleged rape and murder of 15-year-old British tourist Scarlett Eden Killing, who had allegedly consumed a cocktail of narcotics and alcohol, refused to stick to the back pages of the media and continued to make headlines. Last week, the police received the chemical analysis report of the viscera, which indicated and endorsed the claim of the police that she was indeed intoxicated and this coupled with repeated sexual assaults, she lost consciousness and thus drowned in shallow waters. Based on the Viscera report, Dr. Silvano Dias-Sapeco tried to salvage his credibility, which has touched the lowest ebb, and also tried to put an end to the ever-growing controversy which even attracted the attention of the international media. In what he termed as his final report, Dr. Sapeco said that the victim was drugged, raped and then murdered by forcing her head in shallow beach water. However, the government was not very impressed with him and immediately issued a suspension notice to him. This is the second time the head of forensic medicine department has been suspended for botched up autopsy reports. The last was in year 2004 in the murder of Floriano Diniz. This casts serious doubts on the autopsies conducted and reports submitted by Dr. Sapeco. And last week, IITian politician took on the role of the criminal lawyer. In fact, the government should appoint former Chief Minister and present Leader of Opposition Manohar Parrikar as a public prosecutor in the case of Scarlet Eden killing. While demanding a CBI inquiry into the matter, he said that the injuries sustained by the victim were defensive injuries caused while struggling for life. If politicians can draw their conclusion of foul play just by the look at bruises and abrasions, we wonder why Goa should have a forensic department that creates controversies. We have Parrikar talking about the presence of drug cartel in Goa. If at all it is true, have they just mushroomed during the rule of the Congress, or were they present during his 4-year rule also? In fact, the same man during his tenure as Chief Minister of Goa had denied that rave parties were being organized, and Goa 365 had exposed him. And worse, these rave parties had the blessings of one of the ministers in his cabinet. Furthermore, Parrikar is crying from rooftops about the presence of drug cartel along the North Goa coastal belt. Has he forgotten that his party colleagues Dayanand Mandrekar and Dayanand Sopte are representatives of Sioliam and Perne constituencies, and Anjuna, Vagator, Shapora, Arambol, where the drug trade is flourishing, are part of these constituencies? And Scarlet incident was in Anjuna. Manohar Parrikar should first cleanse his house before pointing fingers at others. And why did Parrikar suddenly become interested in Fiona McKenna? Is it because she came to visit him at his party office? And the height of hypocrisy is that it is the same man who had sent the CBI packing from Goa is now demanding that Scarlet case be handed over to the CBI. Furthermore, it is during Parrikar's tenure as Chief Minister of Goa that Dr. Sapeco and PSI Nellon Albuquerque had goofed up in Florian Diniz's murder case, and both were suspended. And while Dr. Sapeco was reinstated in a month's time, PSI Nellon was reinstated after almost 2 years. What happened to the inquiry? Could Parrikar please tell the public? If corrective measures were initiated then by Manohar Parrikar-led government, Dr. Sapeco and PSI Nellon would not have repeated history. And last week, BJP Youth Wing issued a warning to the government to stop the floating casinos operating from Panjim. At the same time, prayed that no more licenses should be issued for more players in casino business. Panjim MLA threatened to adopt Gandhian methods to stop people from boarding the offshore casinos in Panjim. He also made a useful suggestion that ministers interested in issuing these licenses should anchor the vessels in their constituencies. And as we wondered last week if former Transport Minister and Kumbarjua MLA Pandurang Matkaikar would really resign as an MLA, he did exactly like a congressman, he kept it on hold. Undoubtedly, Pandurang Matkaikar has a lot of expertise in keeping things on hold, as he was part of the erstwhile Pratap Singh Rane-led government, during which almost all developmental works were kept on hold. After a lot of posturing, Pandurang Matkaikar addressed a public meeting of his constituents and also members of the scheduled tribe community and promised that he would resign before the assembly session if he was not re-inducted into the cabinet. However, less than a week later, he did a volte-face. But then politicians in Goa are known to do exactly opposite of what they promise the people. And last week was the budget session of the assembly, and as usual, BJP was all charged to take on the government by its horns. However, the 5-day assembly session turned into a damn squib, with the ruling taking the punch out of the opposition by agreeing to their suggestions. In fact, the assembly session indicated that there is no governance